welcome to today's live. And today we are talking about 2 things to focus on when you are starting off as a new coach. 2 things to focus on for new coaches, and very important to know 2 things to focus on, because I think a lot of the times we focus on the wrong things in business, and then we just don't see ourselves being profitable. We don't see ourselves seeing success, and then we just question and doubt the whole thing. So the reason why I'm even going into this is because this is one of the things that I think a lot of people just really want to know. Maria, what do I focus on to grow my business? What do I focus on? And constantly I hammer in, learn how to sell, learn how to talk, learn how to articulate yourself in your marketing, learn how to say your pitch and your offer. And most importantly, you need to know what you sell, right? What are your services? Aside from that, guys, these 2 things are really important. Number 1, 2 things to sell as a service-based business or as an online coach, and you're selling your intellectual property. Number 1, you get to sell. I mean, obviously you got to learn to sell, right? But number 1, the biggest thing you want to have is figure out a way to find your prospects. How do you find your prospects? How do you find your leads? So this is also called lead generation. I just recently posted about this morning. And number 1 is, how do you find and discover your prospects? Where are they hanging out at? Where are they frequenting the most? Do you know how to approach them and talk to them and engage with them so that they can learn about what you offer? Okay, and it's one thing to know where they're at. It's a whole nother thing when you actually talk to them and engage with them, because in that way they actually know who you are. Oh, this is Maria, she's a spiritual business coach. Or, oh, this is Jane, she is a spiritual life coach. Whatever it may be, right? And the moment you realize that that is important to do, actually talking to people, knowing where they hang out and frequent the most, that should be a priority for you to discover, and also a priority for you in your everyday action. So every day, if you're looking at your phone and you're just swiping through your timeline, you're wondering, where are my clients? Where are my clients? Well, that's probably a non-productive activity, right? You get to actually go into communities. So some examples would be like finding people on Facebook in Facebook groups that you think might want your services, going in there and actually providing value. And I'm sure many of you guys have already heard this on like YouTube. If you guys have, looked on YouTube to see how do I find clients, I'm sure there's many people who say, hey, go to Facebook groups and find people that might want to chat with you, right? And you can do Facebook groups. You can find people on Pinterest. You can even go on Twitter. I'm not a Twitter person. However, you can find leads on Twitter. One of my clients actually finds clients on dating apps. Super creative. I have another client who finds clients on this thing called Nextdoor app. She's been killing it on that app. Like literally her lead generation is through the roof because she has been creative in how to resource her leads, right? And that's a part of being a business owner. How resourceful are you as a business owner? Where do you find your prospects? How do you find your prospects? How consistent are you when finding prospects? And this is very, very this will separate you from others. This activity of being creative and you using your genius brain to actually work for you and your goal, because you've been priming it to think outside of the box. That's why you use affirmations. A lot of people kind of poop on affirmations like it's woo-woo. But really what affirmations does is it reprograms your mind to think not of an employee, but actually of a business owner. And what business owners are visionaries. They're innovative in how they grow their business. And that's why affirmations are used. Even in my programs, that's one of the things that we start off with is your wealth statement. A lot of my clients go in asking, Maria, what is my wealth statement? I don't know. We got to craft that. We got to put that together. And that's what you would work on in programming your mind every day as we're working towards growing your business. So what am I saying here? I'm saying lead generation is very important. Figure out a way to discover your leads, get creative. It doesn't have to be Instagram. It doesn't have to be only Facebook. It could be a little bit of both. It could be, hey Kat, how are you? It could be Twitter. It could be YouTube. It could be, going through other people's audiences. And that might even actually be very helpful. However, with that, you don't want to go into a profile or account that has over 100,000 followers, because in that is it's now kind of a diluted group of people. It's almost like it's general. It becomes general over a certain amount of followers. But if you do go through other people's audiences, that might be under maybe 20,000 or even 30,000 followers, that could be a really highly curated group of people that you might want to say hello to and say, hey, this is what I do in that group of audience. That's another method you could do as well. You could do that on Instagram. You could do that on Twitter. You could do that on Pinterest. You can even do that on Facebook and find people through whatever pages they've liked. Okay, so those are methods on lead generation. Another lead generation would probably, I think what would work well is when you partner up with other people. Now, this is one of the things where it's kind of hit and miss. It's one of those things where, will this work? Collabs, doing lives together with an audience that complements your services. Now, you got to be very careful with this, because a lot of people will waste your time. And that's happened to me, and that's why I don't do a ton of these, and then I find myself being exhausted afterwards. And I find myself kind of like, I don't know what happens, but every time I do something like this, I have a headache. I don't know why. I feel like the energy kind of just is drained from me. So I don't personally like to do these. However, you can. You can do these, but you just got to make sure you choose the right people and the right type of audience. And also you want to talk to the person beforehand to make sure there is some sort of synergy there, some sort of like chemistry, like nice vibration, energetic transaction between you guys. You can't I wouldn't recommend to just jump on a live and not do some sort of prerequisite connection first. So do that first before you do any kind of live talks. So those are the ways you would do lead generation, number one. So focus on lead generation. Number two is you want to focus on reoccurring revenue month after month. And one of the reasons why this is so important, you guys, is because I learned this even in my own business. The first year in my coaching business, I was having people pay in full. It was no option for payment plans for me. And at the time, I didn't even know, or I had my own doubts about payment plans. Oh, they're going to leave me after a month in, or, they're going to default on their payments, all the things that you would think as a new business owner. So I didn't really want to go into that. Also, I was being taught that you would just do pay in fulls. That's what I learned. So then that's what I did. My first year, I only did pay in fulls. That was great. However, I didn't have reoccurring revenue. I just got my pay in full that month, and I worked with the client until I said, whatever the fulfillment date was, whether it be a 3-month thing, a 4-month thing. And at the time, I was selling, I think, 3 or 4 months at a time coaching packages. It was more of the shorter time frames with people. Okay, so that was my lesson learned there, is the burst in income real quick within each sale. It was like a cash injection. However, the next month I would notice that, oh, okay, I won't make money until I make another sale, right? Which kind of puts a pressure on you when it comes to stabilizing your profit. So what I did was, at that top of the year, after that year was over, and I realized, maybe I should do more of like a month to month thing with my clients, however, have them sign on long term with me. And I did that multiple times within all of the clients that I would sign on. I realized and noticed that I was able to stabilize my profit. I knew and predicted my income for the coming months. You kind of know how much money you're going to bring in January, February, March. You know what your summer is going to look like based on the clients you currently have. And this is very, what happens when you're a new business owner, this feels really nice to have that reoccurring revenue every month, and to know that people will actually say yes to you. People will actually say, you know what, Maria, I am going to do this. I think this is great. And 100% of my clients did it, and they paid on time. Last year my billing was 1st and the 15th. And that was a part of my business structure. At the 1st and the 15th, I do billing, and payments would come through, and it worked like magic, And so that's why I say two things: grow your lead gen, 2, get reoccurring revenue. Okay, reoccurring revenue. And I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to do one-on-ones with people. People are like, they feel like, I just don't want to do that. And in the beginning, I would say, in order for you to have reoccurring revenue with people, with your clients, as a service-based business, as a coach, you actually need to have reoccurring revenue. Hey, Wadleen, how are you? So, you need to have reoccurring revenue, but I think the best way to have reoccurring revenue as a service-based business is to sell your private time until you no longer can. Until you know that, okay, this is a bit much, it's getting overwhelming now on my schedule. And that is when you start shifting into group coaching. A lot of people try to jump in and start selling group coaching right away, or they try and jump in and try to sell memberships. And that is also a volume game. Membership type businesses are a volume game, right? How big is your bank account? And if you're selling like a $29 membership every month, how many of those do you need to sell in order for you to fill your bank account? So that's a volume game. You need to have a lot of leads to even sell that and make a profit on it, right? And people aren't doing this just for fun. People are doing this to make money. So what I recommend is to sell your private time, so that you can have the reoccurring revenue. Sign them up for that long period of time. I would recommend, depending on your business, I would recommend 4 to 6 months on your front end product, and then on your back end, maybe a 12 to 18 month service plan where you guys work together, depending on, again, your service, month to month, week to week, or bi-weekly, whatever that looks like. But when you do sign on these people for this time frame, 12 months, 6 months, predictability, what your summer looks like, what your year looks like. Okay, I was going into my year last year thinking, in January, these clients that I currently have are what's my spring profit, unless I sign more people in, right? And it's very predictable. It feels, you feel safe almost. There's this feeling of, okay, I know that my profit is going to be this much. My goal for my first quarter is maintaining that, or my goal for the first quarter is to double that. And then that way you already have that cushion, because you're already 50% there if you're going to double it, right? So there's a level of comfort that happens when you sign on your clients at a longer time frame, and then also sign on your clients at a month-to-month basis. It's not about, there's like a lot of coaches will sell at like 12-week coaching programs at like, several $1,000s for a 12-week coaching program. But what happens after the 12 weeks? You upsell them into what? Your back end product. And then the chances of that is usually, I would say, a 30% chance for people to re-sign on, because it's also based on the results they got, based on the effectiveness of your coaching, based on the chemistry and synergy of your coaching. And sometimes those things may not fall through. Sometimes those things may or may not happen. And that's when you kind of are stuck at, okay, now I'm saying goodbye to this client that I've only worked with for 12 months. So that's why I like to have my clients stay with me for a longer period of time. It does give us time to work on more things. It does give us time for me to really get to know my clients. It really does help with breaking down the barriers of habits. And that's really what coaching is helping your client break down habits that are not serving that person. And that doesn't happen in 12 weeks or in 4 months or whatever time frame. It happens long term over a consistent time frame. So not only do you become profitable over a course of, 12 months or 6 months, depending on what you decided to go with the client, but it also offers longer success. Like, it really does offer transformation with your prospect when you decide to work with them long term versus these 12-month quick programs. Because let's be honest, if you've been in these 12-month quick programs, you know that you probably haven't finished it. A lot of the times we don't finish programs in courses. So, I think that we got to take a look at our own selves. How do we see transformation in our own lives? Are we even committed to 12-week programs that are that happen that fast? Most of the time, no. I can admit to saying that I haven't done all the courses that I've been a part of. I haven't done them 100% through. I haven't. And I'll try, maybe 2 out of, I'll say, the 6 that I've done 2. 2 of the coaching programs, I've done them all the way through and probably have rewatched multiple things over and over again. However, for the most part, the regular Joe Schmo, the person who is kind of like needing your help, especially with accountability, they are not going to complete your quick 12-month coaching program. They're just not. It's just reality. Okay, so 2 things to focus on again. Number 1, lead generation. How do you find your prospects? Number 2, start focusing on selling reoccurring revenue type of services where you have month-to-month predictability in your business in terms of income and profits. Okay, so these are the 2 very important things. I think a lot of people really get confused on what to focus on. Do I hire staff? Do I hire this person? Do I hire a marketing writer? Do I focus on branding? I mean, those are all great. However, if you have a really nice branding with no clients, what is that going to do? Hi, Court, how are you? What is that going to do for you when you sign on, when you don't sign on people and you don't focus on lead generation? However, you have nice color aesthetics. So, even like a fancy website. Someone was talking to me last week about how she's going to spend several $1,000s on a fancy website. Why? You need to spend more time finding your prospects first. You don't need a fancy website to make money. You just need to know where your peoples are and how to sell to them. And then when you do sell to them, offer them long-term coaching or long-term services so that you have predictability in your revenue. Those are the 2 important things. Many people are thinking like, they'll see coaches who will celebrate $1 million revenue years, and they don't realize that these coaches have been in the game for 3, 4, 5 years in coaching. And 3, 4, 5 years it took them to get to 1 million in revenue, right? And in that, they had to learn all these things that now we only see the win. We only see that $1 million. What is it, sweetie? Hey, honey. We only see the like shiny thing that happens, but we don't see that they did the two things. They figured out how to find their prospects, where they hang out, how to talk to them. Then number two, the second thing is to have service-based business, products and services that offer long-term revenue. And then from there, that's where they scale. A lot of people focus on trying to scale with no foundation yet. And that becomes confusing for a lot of people trying to start a coaching business, a service-based business, when they don't know where their prospects are yet. And they don't know how to talk to them. So these are the two very important things. Okay, guys, I am checking out for this weekend or for this week. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. And Court, I'll talk to you next week. I hope that things are well for you this week. And then let me know if you guys have any questions about any of this. Book a call. Link is going to be somewhere here. You can click the link in the bio. And then from here, guys, I am going to go off into my weekend. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for being here. Mwah. All right, Facebook, we're still on. Okay, I'm going to send my link again. Guys, same drill. If you guys have questions, book a call. Link is right here. Have an amazing weekend, guys.